Chapter 20, Rucus. In an auditorium in Geneva, draped in the flags of magical nations from every corner of the world, a long, curved table held a half-circle of leaders, witches and wizards, representing governments, councils, and ancient magical communities. Across from them sat a smaller table, where 4 delegates had been placed together, representatives from Makusa, Japan, Uganda, and Marrakesh. The air was already tense. The leader from Japan rose first, her expression controlled but urgent. We must take this threat seriously. The effects are temporary, for now. But our potions masters believe the mist is evolving. If that is true, then whoever is behind it is not experimenting anymore. They are refining it. She paused, letting the weight settle. They are trying to make it permanent. The room erupted. We need to open talks with the squibs. Talks with terrorists? We cannot negotiate under threat. We are talking about squibs. The voices overlapped, rising into chaos, until an owl cut through the noise. It swept in from above, wings beating hard against the heavy air, and dropped a sealed letter onto the smaller table before veering sharply upward. Every voice died. The envelope trembled. Then it lifted. Before anyone could react, the paper folded in on itself, sharp, deliberate creases forming something unnatural. A mouth. When it spoke, the voice was deafening. Welcome to your new life as a squib. The sound echoed against stone and glass. Your first lesson. Without power, you are nothing. A pause. A breath held across the entire room. This time, it's permanent. The paper collapsed. For a fraction of a second, nothing happened. Then the envelope pulsed. A thick, dark violet mist burst outward, spilling across the table like ink in water, only heavier, faster, alive. The Makusa leader reached for his wand. His fingers tightened around it, but his arm trembled violently. The strength drained from him mid-motion. His wand slipped from his grasp. He collapsed. The others followed in rapid succession. Chairs scraping, bodies hitting the floor, breath knocked from lungs that could no longer hold magic. For a heartbeat, the room stood frozen in disbelief. Then panic detonated. Delegates surged toward the exits. Shouts filled the chamber. Spells sparked and fizzled uselessly in the air. Guards pushed through the chaos, trying to restore order that no longer existed. The world had just changed. Across Geneva, owls flooded in. They battered against windows, crowded corridors, and dropped letters by the dozens into waiting hands. Reports came faster than they could be read. Incidents across Europe, then beyond. Clashes, riots, wizards and squibs turning on each other. Harry and Ron stood with the task force in the aftermath of the attack, the auditorium now a controlled crime scene. Yukimi and Luca worked nearby, scanning the space for residual magic. Muller entered, brisk and focused. We concentrate only on verified mist activity, he announced. Nothing else. Harry nodded, but his attention was elsewhere. Anything? Muller asked him. Harry shook his head. Nothing obvious. No breach points, no tampering with the structure. He glanced around the sealed chamber. According to security, once the doors were shut, anti-apparition wards were activated. Everything was sealed. Doors, windows, vents. Muller frowned. Then how did the owl get in? Ron, halfway across the room, turned at that. Maybe it was already inside, he said. Harry shook his head. Everyone was searched before entry. Thoroughly. Ron stepped closer, thinking. Then someone brought it in after the wards went up. Apparated in, released it, and left. They couldn't, Harry replied. The wards? Not for an elf. Harry stopped. Ron met his eyes. Think about it. Dobby, Malfoy Manor, Hogwarts, wards don't stop them. The realization hit all at once. Harry's expression hardened. That's it. They're using house elves to deploy the mist. Ron grimaced. Yeah, and forcing them to do it. In her office, Hermione sat rigid behind her desk, the Daily Prophet spread open in her hands. The headline stared back at her. Magical leaders reduced to squibs in Geneva. Purple mist strikes again. This time it's permanent. Her eyes lingered on the words. Harry and Ron were in Geneva. She closed her eyes, just for a moment, steadying herself against the rising dread. A sharp crack split the silence. Her eyes snapped open. A house elf stood in front of her desk, well-dressed, posture tight, eyes flickering with nerves. Hermione's wand was in her hand in an instant. It didn't stay there. It ripped free from her grip and flew across the room, landing neatly in the elf's outstretched hand. My apologies, Miss Granger, ma'am. Hermione stood slowly, anger cutting through the shock. Who are you? She said, voice cold and precise. And why are you in my office? The elf lowered his head. Rucus, ma'am, of the Rook family. The name struck like lightning. You're Tobias's elf, she said, her breath catching despite herself. You've been helping him, bringing him in and out at night. Rucus said nothing. Hermione's expression hardened. Of course you have. Miss Granger. He lied to me, she snapped, for weeks, straight to my face. It has grown beyond him, Rucus said quickly, his voice tightening. The potion, it is unstable. If any part is wrong, it will not only strip magic, it could kill. The leaders in Geneva, they are fortunate to be alive. Fortunate? Hermione stepped around her desk, fury rising. He has already hurt people. Now he is escalating. Miss Granger does not understand, Rucus cried, lifting his head. For centuries, worth has been decided by the wand, by power, by blood. Tobias only wanted balance. By destroying people, she cut in. By ending the hierarchy. Rucus shot back, his voice shaking. But the magic, he faltered. The magic is changing. It is becoming something else, something angry. Hermione took another step forward. Rucus panicked. With a sharp crack, he vanished. Her wand dropped to the floor where he had stood. Hermione stared at the empty space, breathing hard. Then her eyes flicked to the clock. 7:51. She grabbed her wand and turned for the door. Dawlish will be delivering Tobias any minute. Rucus reappeared inside Rook Manor. The kitchen was quiet, dimly lit, shadows stretching long across stone walls. He moved quickly, no hesitation now, crossing to a large crate marked Phase 3. He opened it and reached inside, pulling out a silver device, a magical detonation box, heavily modified. His hands moved with urgency. He stripped the casing away, exposing an intricate network of gears, runes, and enchanted conduits. From within his robes, he withdrew a crude, hand-built mechanism, springs, cogs, and bindings of magic woven together with unsettling precision. He fitted it into the device. It clicked perfectly into place. The runes flickered. For a moment, the entire box seemed to hum, alive in a way it hadn't been before. Rucus sealed it shut, placed it carefully back into the crate, and vanished. Tobias sat on the edge of his bed in his holding cell, waiting. Rucus appeared before him. "We are ready," the elf said. "The last of 5 crates is packed. The others are already in position. The final one will be placed in New York before sunrise." Tobias nodded once. "Good. Dawlish will be here soon," Rucus added. Tobias extended his hand. Rucus hesitated, then placed a small vial into it. "Sir," he said quietly, "are we certain this is the only way? The right way?" Tobias turned the vial between his fingers, studying the liquid within. "Right?" he said after a moment. "No." He looked up. "We're not doing what's right." His gaze sharpened. "We're doing what's necessary." Rucus said nothing. "You don't dismantle a system like ours by asking it to be kinder," Tobias continued. "You don't reform it. You break it." His grip tightened slightly around the vial. "And then you build something new from what's left." His eyes met Rucus's. "When this is over, no one will ever decide a person's worth by whether they can hold a wand." Rucus swallowed. "Now go." He hesitated only a second longer, then disappeared. Tobias remained still, the vial resting in his palm. "We're almost there," he murmured.